Hi scholars and welcome back. I hope you are excited to get started into our book. Now last time we learned what is your character like. So today we're going to practice something else about your characters. I want you to think about how does your character feel. Now quickly let's just review some feelings. Do they feel happy? Do they feel sad? Do they feel excited or nervous or scared? Or how do you think they feel? So it is important for you to think about how characters feel because then you are able to identify with the characters. It's important to think of characters as friends. At least that's what Miss White does. So let's go ahead and get started. Sorry for the glare on the glasses. With chapter 3. Now I want you to think about how your characters feel. Now how are you going to know how your characters feel if you can't talk to them or ask them? Well, great question. You can know how characters feel by saying their words. If there's an exclamation point or if I talk really excited, then that probably means that they're happy or excited. You can kind of tell by the tone of my voice, but when you're reading things on a page, it'll say like if they're happy, if they're sad, are they yelling, are they whispering, like what does their actions look like? You kind of have to create a mental picture in your head of the story. Okay, so that's my challenge for you today, and I'll pause to give you some examples. Let's get started with chapter 3, the oasis at noon. Moments later, the sun began to rise over the distant dunes. It's time, Kia said. They climbed to the rim of a tall, curving sand dune. Gallon pointed to the sandy plains where the sun was rising. The door to Kano lies in the east, the wizard said. According to a legend, it can be seen where it is not. Da 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 da, da do do do, ba da 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 da. Ah. Okay. Eric nodded slowly. Okay, got it. Great. Could you say that again? It's a riddle, Max said, scurrying back and forth in the sand. No one knows exactly where Spar's palace is. Julie began biting her lip again. Then how are we going to find the door to Kano? Okay, quick pause, scholars. So we have a few things here that tell us how our characters are feeling. So Eric was nodding slowly, and he said, okay, got it, great. Could you say that again? What do you think that means? Miss White thinks that means that Eric's probably confused. How can you tell? He's asking a question, he's saying a couple of things like stuttering, and he's nodding slowly. He probably doesn't understand what's going on. Have you guys ever felt like you don't understand what's going on? And then we go back down to Julie. Julie began biting her lip again. Then how are we going to find the door to Kano? She's asking a question. It sounds like she might be a little bit nervous. How does Miss White think she's nervous? Well, she began biting her lip. And when you bite your lip, sometimes that means that you're nervous or you're thinking. You don't really know what's going on. What do you do when you're nervous? When Miss White's nervous, sometimes she bites her nails. But don't tell anybody. Okay, let's keep going. But Gallon was already walking back down the dune by finding the answer to the riddle. First things first, Khan said. Our journey of many miles begins with a single sniff. He sniffed the air, then pointed. East is that way. Within moments, Khan and his lumpies packed up the tents and supplies. Into the east, Max chirped. Her Gallon's shaggy polka leap whined in excitement as the kids pulled onto her back. We're off, cried Julie. They rode for hours over the hot dunes. Mile after mile, they saw nothing but burning white sand. I think we're lost, Neil said, wiping his forehead. I guess we're in the east, but I don't see any doors. All I see are two things, sand and more sand. Pause real quick. Now we just got a little paragraph on Neil. I think we're lost, Neil said, wiping his forehead. I guess we're in the east, but I don't see any doors. All I see are two things, sand, and more sand. Now, how do you think Eric feels? I'll give you a second to think. Okay, what do you think? I think that Neil probably feels confused. He obviously feels lost because the book tells us that good scholars go back in the book to look for answers to questions. And it looks like he might be getting a little aggravated because he said all he sees are two things, sand and more sand. And I'm thinking about the time that I had to go somewhere and I was walking and all that there was the same thing over and over again. It was kind of frustrating. Have you ever been like that? All right, well, let's keep going, scholars. Eric pointed into the distance. What's that? It looked like a shadow against the faraway dunes, a grove of trees waving in the breeze. Is it a mirage? Julie said. You know, the imaginary things you see in the desert that aren't really there. Imaginary, Eric sighed. Right now, I'm imagining the town pool filled with cool water. Now, what do you think Eric is feeling? I'll let you figure out this one on your own. Okay, keeping going. You want water? You got it, Neil said. I'm gonna be in a puddle in about 3 minutes. No, you won't, Kia said. That's an oasis. We can get there and get some real water. Now pause real quick, scholars. Some of you might not know what oasis means, so let's stop and give you some tools real fast. Now, last time we were in school, we learned about how to define a word. You can look at the word, look for parts of it that you think you might know, and you can also look for context clues. Context clues are things, words, or pictures that tell you what it might be. So we'll read on and then we'll see if you can figure out what an oasis is. Real quick, let's see if you can find the word. The word is right there, oasis. All right, so keep reading and think if you can figure out what oasis means. They rode quickly and soon reached a group of tall palm trees sprouting from the dunes. In the center was a pool of cool, clear water. Okay, so an oasis. They said that there was a group of tall palm trees sprouting from the dunes and then a pool of clear blue water. Now they're out in the desert. What does this mean? This means that oasis probably means a place that's kind of like a safe haven or a special place. Think if you were in the desert walking and it was hot and you were thirsty and uncomfortable, wouldn't you want somewhere to chill out, like a pool? I would, sometimes it gets hot here in Florida, and I definitely would like an oasis, like a water park. Super fun oasis. Okay, back to the book, scholars. Eric and his friends slid down from Lee and moved into the shade of waving palm trees. This isn't the pool in my dream, Julie said. There's nothing yucky about this. Good, Neil exclaimed, because I'm way past thirsty. He and Julie and Kia went to the near side of the pool and began to drink. The Lumpies led the Pelkas over. They all bent their heads to the water. Drink up, Con said. It may be many miles before we find water again. Eric scrambled to an open spot on the side of the pool. He breathed in the sweet air under the trees, then bent down, cupping his hands together. The shimmering water looked so refreshing. He stooped to take a big sip. He froze solid at what he saw. What is it? Kia said, looking up. Eric stared into the pool. My reflection. Neil laughed. Yeah, you look pretty grimy. We all do, Julie added. No, that's not it, Eric mumbled. In the surface of the pool, he saw his face. Behind his head were the tops of palm trees he knew were waving in the wind behind him. And behind the palm trees was an enormous gate. A gate made of black iron, towering up behind the palms. Eric whirled around and looked up. There was no gate behind the palm trees. He turned back to the pool. The gate was there in the reflection, standing huge and as plain as day. An invisible gate, he gasped. Like the riddle says, it can be seen where it is not. What? Neil said, slurping from his hands. We're here, Eric cried. I see it in the pool, the door to Volcano. But it's not in the pool. It's there. He pointed up behind him, beyond the palm trees. The entrance to Kano is right there. Gallon rushed over. Max scurried across the sand. Kia, Neil, and Julie ran to Eric. They all stared at the open air behind the palms, then at the pool. It's there, all right, Kia said, but it's still invisible. How do we get in? I have an idea. Neil stooped into the pool and filled his hands with water. He scurried to the palm trees where the gates would be. He tossed the water in the air. Sss. The water struck something in midair and spilled down it. Suddenly, there it was, a patch of black iron. Julie tried it next. Sss. More of the black gate appeared. Everyone joined in, even the lumpies. They cupped their hands. They used buckets. They even filled their boots with water. Splish, splosh, splursh. Soon, the entire gate dripped into shape before them. It stood huge and glistening behind the tall palm trees of the oasis. Gallon stood back in awe. Behold, we have discovered the way to Spar's secret realm. This is the door to Kano. Da 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 da. How exciting is that, scholars? What do you think each character was feeling at the end when they found the gate? Share your answers with us on Dojo. That's all for now, scholars. See you later.